Criticism: exclusivity of the membership. Although the G20 has started that the group economic weight and broad membership give it a high degree of legitimacy and influence over the management of the global economy and financial system, its legitimacy has been challenged. A 2011 report for the Danish Institute of International Studies criticized that G20 exclusivity, particularly highlighting its underrepresentation of the African countries and its practice of inviting observers from non-Muslim non-member states as a mere concessions at the emergence, which does not grant the organizational representational legitimacy with respect to the membership issues. Former US President Barack Obama noted the difficulty of the pleasing everyone. Everybody wants the smallest possible group that includes them. So if they are the 21st largest nation in the world, they want the G21 and they think it's highly unfair if they have been cut out. Others stated in 2011 that the exclusivity is not in as an in insurmountable problem and proposed mechanism by which it would become more inclusive. Norwegian perspective, in line with the Norway emphasizes on including international process, United Nations and the United Nations system. In a 2010 interview with the Der Spiegel, former Norwegian Foreign Minister Jonas Gahr Store called the G20 one of the greatest setbacks since World War II, as 173 nations who are all members of the United Nations are not among the G20. This includes Norway, a major developed economy and the seventh largest contributor to United Nations International Development Programme, which is not a member of the EU and thus is not represented in the G20 even indirectly. Norway, like other such nations, has little or no voice within the group. Store argue that the G20 undermines the legitimacy of the international organizations set up in the aftermath of the World War II, such as the IMF, World Bank, and United Nations. The G20 itself appointed group, self-appointed groups. Its composition is determined by the major countries and power. It may be more representative than the G7 or the G8, in which only the richest countries are represented, but it is still arbitrary. We no longer live in the 19th century, a time when the major power met and redraw the map of the world. No one needs a new Congress of the Vienna. Under Norway, under the governments of the Erna Solberg, attend the 2017 G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany, and participates in working groups and sub-working groups. Instance unknown research. The Norwegian Minister of the Elderly will participate under the 2019 Japanese presidency of the G20. Spanish position on membership. The Spanish government policy is not request official membership despite being hit hard by the economic crisis. After 2008, Spain is still the world's 14th largest economy by nominal GDP and the 16th largest by purchasing power party, clearly exceeding the number of the several current members of G20 such as the Argentina or South Africa. In addition, since the 90s, several Spanish companies have gained multinational status, often expanding their activities in culturally close Latin America, where Spain is the second biggest foreign investor after the United States and keeps an important influence. These facts have reinforced by the idea that the Spain should seek permanent membership of G20. Polish aspiration. In the contrast with the Spanish position, the Polish government has repeatedly asked to join the G20. Before the 2009 G20 London summit, the Polish government expressed an interest in joining with the Spain and the Netherlands and condemned an organizational mess in which a few European leaders speak in the name of all the European Union without legitimacy authorizations in cases which belongs to the European Commission. During a 2010 meeting with the foreign diplomats, former Polish presidency Lech Kaczyński said the Polish economy is according to our data, an 18th world economy. The place of my country is among the member of G20. This is a very simple postulate. Firstly, its results from the size of Polish economy. Secondly, its results from the fact that the Poland is biggest country in its region and the biggest country that has experienced a certain story. That story is politically and economically transformation. In 2012, Forbes wrote that the sweeping Argentina for Poland should be considered, claiming that the Polish economy was headed toward a leadership role in Europe and its membership would be more legitimate. Similarly, opinion have been later expressed by American magazine Foreign Policy, Wall Street Journal, and by Mamta Murthy from the World Bank. In 2014, consulting companies Invest Young published its report about optimal member for G20 after the analyzing trade, institutional and investing link. Poland was included as one of the optimal members. The G20 membership has been part of the Poland Law and Justice Party and the Presidency Andrzej Duda political program. In March 2017, Deputy Prime Minister of the Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki, took part in the meeting of G20 financial minister in Baden as the first Polish representative. In 2017, Poland GDP is $483 billion. In 2018, Poland GDP is $614 billion. Global Governance Group 3G response. In June 2010, Singapore representatives to the United Nations warned the G20 that its decision would affect all countries, big and small, and they asserted that the prominent and non-G20 members should be included in financial reform decisions. Singapore thereafter took a leading role in organizing the global government governance group, informal grouping of 30 non-G20 countries, with the aim of the collectively channeling their views into the G20 process more effectively. Singapore's chairing of the 3G was cited as a rationale for the inviting Singapore to the November 2010 G20 summit in South Korea, as well as the 2011 and 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017 summits. Foreign policy criteria. The American magazine Foreign Policy has published articles condemning the G20 in terms of its principal function as an alternative to the subsequently exclusive G8. It's questioned the action of the some of the G20 members and the advanced the nation that some nations should not have membership in the first place. Furthermore, with the effective of the greatest recession still ongoing, the magazine has criticized the G20 efforts to implement reform of the world's financial institution, branding such efforts as failed. Wider concern, the G20 prominent membership gives its a strong input global policy dispute lacking an informal ability to enforce rules. There are disputes over the legitimacy of the G20 and criticism of its organizations and the efficiency of its declaration. The G20 transparency and the accountabilities have been questioned by critics who call attention to the absence of the formal charter and the fact that the most important G20 meetings are closed door. In 2001, the economist Franz Switward proposed an economic security council within the United Nations as an alternative to the G20. In such a council, members would be elected by the General Assembly based on their importance to the world economy and the contribution they were willing to provide the world economic development. The cost and the extent of summit related security is offended a contentious issues in the hosting countries, and G20 summits have attracted protesters from a variety of the backgrounds, including information activities, opponents of the financial reserves, banking, and the anti-capitalist. In 2010, the Toronto G20 summit sparked mass protest and the rioting, leading to the largest mass arrest in the Canada history.